District 5 Sergeant discharged his firearm at a subject during an investigative stop. The subject, Mr. David Paul Hebert, is deceased. Mr. Hebert is a white male, born in 1970. Mr. Hebert's father has been notified. This incident began when District 5 officers received a report of a cutting on Virginia Avenue in District 5. Officers responded to the scene, and a description of two subjects wanted for investigation of the cutting was broadcast. The broadcast included information that the subject was possibly armed with a knife. Officers approached two subjects who matched the descriptions on Chase Avenue. An officer questioned Mr. Hebert, who was one of the two subjects, about whether he had a knife. Mr. Hebert denied having the knife. Mr. Hebert put his right hand into his front right pants pocket. An officer ordered Mr. Hebert to keep his hand out of his pocket at least twice. Mr. Hebert pulled a knife from his pocket, raised his arm with the knife, and made what is described as a swipe at the closest officer to him, which was the officer giving him the commands. And Mr. Hebert took a step towards the officer as he did that. As Mr. Hebert pulled the knife from his pocket, Sergeant Andrew Mitchell, who was serving as a cover officer, drew his firearm. As Mr. Hebert stepped and swiped toward the officer, the other officer, Sergeant Mitchell, fired 2 rounds, striking Mr. Hebert with both rounds. Mr. Hebert fell to the ground. Mr. Hebert was pronounced deceased at the scene. When encountering an edged weapon, a threat of serious physical harm, depending on other circumstances in general, for a Cincinnati police officer to draw their firearm in response to a threat of an edged weapon, drawing the firearm is appropriate.